Georgia
What?
Bulldogs.
Dogs. Scare the shit
And
out of my cat.
it's that
Welcome back
TikTok
to
trend.
the podcast, guys. Welcome back.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
It's been quite a while. I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a Happy Holidays and Happy Kwanzaa and all that jazz. I hope you gained like 15 pounds.
I definitely did. And I'm still
I felt
putting on
like I
that
did.
weight because I still got some cookies left over.
I think I've eaten all my leftovers. I mean, I couldn't bring too many back.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, man.
No,
But
my grandma literally was like, "Hey, here's 4 dozen cookies just for you," and I went,
"Just for you. Here, take them."
What? But then I go to the other grandparents, and they're like, "Hey, here's another like 2 dozen cookies," and I'm like,
"Oh, don't you love it?"
I'm just like, dude, this is so much sweets, but like I can't say no to it, so I just throw it into the freezer, save it a little longer.
Oh yeah, if you freeze it, like Jordan and I brought back ham, and like we just froze the ham, and so like we'll take some out here and there, and it's actually really good. But
honestly, I think I like heated up ham more than I like fresh ham.
Well, and that's the thing
for
is
some
that like
reason.
we couldn't just thaw it and like use it for like lunch meat because yeah, it's like too thick. Anyway, we're
Yeah.
getting way off track. Hope you guys
Yeah.
had a happy
Yeah,
holidays.
happy holidays, guys.
And make sure that you're not too hungry now because now I'm starving. So
Same.
we're gonna run through this. In case you missed it though, I think it's safe to say that Bowl Mania actually lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I was very
most part.
impressed with what happened. A lot of games, honestly, I was kind of shocked by. And
Yeah.
some teams really just held out to the end and gave it their all. Go Dogs.
Just jump right into it. No, I think like from top to bottom, bottom being like, you know, the lesser known bowls. I didn't watch a bunch of them just because, you know, I was unfortunately traveling a lot in December. So I didn't get to just sit down and watch a bunch of games. But from what I did see, it was like from top to bottom, pretty good games, pretty good, you know, fight to the finish. Like really not a lot of blowouts. I think you could argue that the only blowouts that there were the semifinal games.
Yeah.
Which then it's like, that's not how that's supposed to be.
Yeah. Maybe
but I mean,
we'll dive teams in there, but hey,
yeah, we'll dissect those in a little bit. But I think we just want to run through some of them, mainly the New Year's Six bowl games, because those are the main ones, right? I mean, those are the ones that almost everybody watched. But before we get that, you know, we talked about Bowl Mania. There's a full effect. Did you happen to see who won the Bowl Challenge Cup?
No.
Well, it's just a made-up cup. It was like started a couple years ago. Okay, it goes to because they always like to say like, you know, the SEC is the best conference. No, the Big Ten is the best conference. Oh, what about the Pac-12? Right? They just argue.
Yeah.
So, you know, Capital One Bowl Mania came up with okay, whoever has the best winning percentage per conference is technically the winner, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Now you look at it and you're like, well, but you know, the MAC plays in all these crappy bowls, so like they could go undefeated. So you take with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
However, the Mountain West won it, and I believe if I read correctly last night, it was for the 5th time that the Mountain West won. I think they were 5-1 if I remember correctly. So yeah. I mean, hey,
good job. Yeah.
You know, a group of 5 team winning. The AAC was in second. They were 3-1. They only had 4 teams, and we already know who lost from them.
Yeah. Sorry,
cats by negative, whatever. I forget exactly all the way down, but I do know. I think the ACC was right above the Big Ten. The Big Ten was 6-4. No, the ACC was definitely below. I think the Big 12 was right above. Okay. The Big 12 was right above because the ACC only had 2 wins. But the Big Ten was 6-4, and the SEC, good old SEC. I understand they got a national championship with Georgia beating Alabama, but not including the national championship. I believe they were 5-7. So a losing record. So all you Southerners, suck it. Suck it.
Oh, let's go.
And then this is what cracks me up. You know who came in last place? It's a Power 5 conference.
Oh, Power 5?
It's a Power 5 conference. There's only one left that I haven't mentioned.
Let's hook 'em horns.
No, it's not the Big 12. The
No?
Big 12's right ahead. No, it's the Pac-12.
Oh yeah.
The Pac-12 out west. Ready? You know what their record was? Just take a guess. They only had 5 teams play. 5 teams play.
5 teams. I'm gonna say maybe 1 win.
0-5. 0-5, people. The Pac-12 was 0-5.
Wow.
Which it just cracks me up because everyone's talking about like, oh, like they're relevant, and I'm like, if I remember correctly, when I saw it, because I think Oregon was the last one, and they were talking about, oh my gosh, you know, Ohio State came back and beat Oregon. The Pac-12 has not won a bowl game since 2019. They have now gone 2 seasons without winning a bowl game as a conference. That's embarrassing.
That's one of those things where it's like you would assume at least one of your teams would pull out and win.
Yeah, per year, right? At least one.
At least one. But having no teams for the past 2 years,
it's rough. That's rough,
Yeah.
Especially when you had one of the great Titans on the rope, right?
Yeah.
In the Rose Bowl, which we'll get to. But just to keep in mind, I heard this a couple of days ago. I just want to reiterate it. Everyone's going to say, you know, the SEC is the best conference, right? Well, this data tells us otherwise, right?
I think the SEC has a lot of top dogs.
I really don't think it has a lot. I think it has 2.
It's got like 2 or 3 usually that are like
I'd say 3 at max.
Top. Usually you'll see like an LSU or a Florida
or an A&M.
Or an A&M, and then you pretty much have Georgia and
Alabama.
Those are you always have those 3 where I feel like other
you have 3 teams that can compete.
Like Big Ten, you'll have Ohio State, and then like Michigan recently.
Yeah, but normally it's Penn State, Wisconsin.
Normally I feel like it changes a lot more often than
the
like
thing
the SEC.
Yeah, the thing that I will and after watching the bowl season, because I mean, I'm sorry, Tennessee, you lost to Purdue. It was a great game though.
It was a good game though.
But you lost to Purdue. I thought it was funny. I saw like someone do a collab on TikTok about Missouri failing the SEC, and someone was like, even like SEC fans were like, I mean, we were rooting for, you know, Army. You can't root against Army. But I think it's very Alabama, Georgia heavy, and then everybody else. And so if you're going to tell me that, oh, the SEC is the best conference because of all of these titles that they've won in the last like decade, yes, I'm aware of what they've done. I'm also frustrated in what has gone on. Like I'm not going to lie to you about that. Like since 2000, so like the last 2 decades, they have run college football. But if you really look at it, it's Alabama's run college football.
Yeah.
Like in that time since 2000, Miami's won a championship. Miami, Florida, they're not SEC, right? Ohio State's won 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what we're really talking, because I think Miami they almost went back to back. Yeah, because Ohio State stopped them. But I think it was like an 03 is when they're like the dynasty of the SEC started because LSU won a national championship.
Yeah.
So LSU's won 3 since 2000 because 03, unfortunately, we were old enough to remember the 08 debacle against them. And then, you know, we witnessed Burrow in 19. Florida has a couple of championships with Meyer.
Yeah.
Auburn has a random one,
Yeah.
right? Georgia now has one, but every other SEC championship in that time period is Alabama.
A roll tide roll, baby.
And that's the reality, is that like,
Yeah.
okay, you kind of spread it, like Georgia has one, Auburn has one, LSU, you kind of, LSU and Florida was kind of like, you pop up
Yeah.
every once in a while, right? It was like, oh, hey, we're back and we're gone. Like, so you're good. Like, I'm not going to discredit you there, but Ohio State's won two, Miami's won a couple, Florida State won one. So it's really Alabama.
Yeah.
And that's what frustrates me, is that I cannot in goodwill say the SEC is the best conference when it's Alabama's the best team.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reality.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't really argue too much against that. Like, yeah, like, I mean, every conference has their like Vanderbilt or their
The Rutgers. the Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Vanderbilt, Rutgers, Georgia Tech. Should we just name them all from the conference?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, they're
Arizona.
Everyone's gonna have those lower ones, but I feel like if Bama fell off, Georgia fell off, and then like only LSU or Florida remained, nothing else is going for that conference, really. There's
not right now,
like,
no.
yeah,
because that's
it's
reality.
pretty stale besides Alabama, Georgia.
Really. Well,
It's
this year alone, it was, other than Alabama and Georgia, there was A&M, but it was like, do you trust A&M? Right? Like, but
I
other than them,
consider them that good. Like, a lot of their wins were pulling off by the end, like in the
yeah,
end of the game.
but that's the thing, is that
teams. So I mean,
yeah,
they're not playing the high caliber teams, where I feel like Alabama was playing more high caliber teams. So
and like we said that Alabama was like struggling, though, in comparison to like Alabama standard. But like, on top of that, pointing out, we're used to saying, oh, LSU's good. Where's LSU been for the last 2 years? Oh, Florida, you're normally good. You were a losing record this year. Like, last year, you gave Alabama a little bit of a run for the money, but not really. You were good, but you weren't great. Auburn, what happened to you? What happened to you the last 2-3 years? Like, what's going on here? A&M, like we said, you can't ever trust them. So we'll see, even with them spending $33 million in recruiting. I don't know if you saw that, but their boosters admitted to paying $33 million to their recruits to get the #1 recruiting class for this year. Yeah. So we'll see if that helps.
But I mean, will it help them? Probably not.
It's probably not, because of the coaching staff.
Yeah. So it's like, you can get, we have the best recruiting class, but if you don't have a coaching staff that can put that recruiting class together and develop them into the all-star like dynasty team, then like, you don't have anything.
Well, why do you think LSU has never been able to be consistent like Alabama?
It's coaching.
That's the reality, because everyone's like, oh my God, look at all the 5-star talent, look at all the NFL talent. And it's like, but do you see what's missing? It's the coaching and development.
Yeah.
Like, LSU, they're really good players. They're going to go to the league. We all know that. We all see them on Sundays now. It's fine, but they're not consistent as a program because they don't have Nick Saban.
Yeah.
They did, and then he left.
It's like, see you later, guys.
But enough speculation, and just talk about everything that everybody knows, especially when all the SEC fans are probably at home going, oh my God, shut up.
Stop talking about it.
Yeah. So let's just dive into the New Year's 6 bowl games.
Let's get that heat rolling.
Which one would you like to do first?
Let's just get the Bearcats over with. Let's just.
Oh, you're going straight for it? Okay.
Let's go straight for the Bearcats. I mean, honestly, I think they held up decent. It wasn't anything where I was like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna get completely wrecked.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, as much as we were hyping them up, saying, oh, like they're gonna do great, like Cats by 90.
I think. Well, yeah, that was us wishful or hopeful thinking, but also we were thinking, coaching staff and veteran, led team. This would be the recipe for them to be able to do that. But we both knew they had to play a perfect game.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that just didn't happen.
Yeah. And plus, Alabama just kind of showed up and they were there to play. Even though I do think they definitely had some errors that they could have definitely gotten over and it would have been a better game. Mm-hmm. But it was a little sloppy. So, I mean, Cincinnati didn't show up. And honestly, for first time in the tournament, I thought they did pretty well considering. I mean, most of those guys are seniors. You know, they're playing their first like tournament playoff game.
Their first like truly worthy game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matter like the actual game that matters. I completely agree. I like that you said, you know, UC just didn't show up. And I think that showed in their first couple of drives.
Yeah.
You know, Alabama goes down to scores early in the first quarter. And it's like, oh, you slowed them.
Yeah.
You slowed them down. They did like 12 plays. Like as a defense, you're like, hey, if you score 12 to 15 plays, like we made you earn it.
Yeah.
Like we don't like it, but we made you earn it. Like you're not just going to do whatever you want against us. But no, I was very impressed with Cincinnati's defense.
Yeah.
I thought they played really well.
Really good.
Yeah. It was just when you counter with field goals, you're going to end up losing.
Yeah.
And that's the reality is you get what I think it was like first and goal, back-to-back drives, and you had to settle for field goals.
Yeah.
So when you can't score in the red zone, that becomes an issue. And I think that comes back to the fact that UC's offensive line just got outmanned.
Yeah. I mean, you could almost see it on like the screen, just like watching it. You could see how much bigger and just like quicker Alabama's defensive line was compared to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think it was the quickness. The size I wasn't really an issue with. I think it was the quickness. But I would say like watching it, it was kind of like, well, yeah, you know, we knew Alabama was the better team, right? Like it wasn't, but it wasn't to the point where it's like, oh my God, they're like light years ahead.
Yeah.
Right. Like the gap was surprisingly smaller than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
But so I thought UC did well. I really did. I thought they did fine. I know people aren't going to like the outcome. I know they're going to be like, oh, look at the
scoreboard. And it's like, okay, well, a lot of those came in the fourth quarter, but hey.
Yeah, but it's also, you know, I thought UC exposed Alabama in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
And I left that game having more questions about Alabama than I did about UC. Yeah. And certainly a lot more questions than the second semifinal left me with. Like one was Georgia's legit. Like this one was more of, is Alabama really Alabama? Because it kind of just seems like they showed up for the Georgia game and that was it.
I mean, considering Cincinnati, as much as they're hyping up, hey, we're in the Big 12. No, you're not. All right, you're not.
Not yet.
Not yet. All right.
So you can buy Big 12 and stuff. T-shirts.
Yeah.
You can buy it from their team shop.
And I'm like, okay, you guys haven't transferred over yet. You can't like start hyping it up like that. But
I guess they can.
Yeah. But considering the recruits and like who they're going to get, a lot of them are going to be like transfers from the bigger schools that weren't getting playing time. So you're not going to have those top recruits that you're going to get if you're just a Big 12 school. So I think that in the next couple of years, with a little more development, a little more action in the college football playoffs, maybe getting into those big games, I think we could see UC make a step up and be one of those top hot teams in the league.
I agree with you that I'm intrigued by their future.
Yeah.
I think this coming year will be a lot rougher than people think, just because they're losing their quarterback. They're losing a couple of linebackers, a couple of defensive ends. Like they're losing a lot of people. Half their secondary is gone after this year. They're losing a lot of good players. So it's, can you reload? You know, can you have that next man up, fill it in? But I do, as long as Luke Fickell stays there, I do see them becoming a powerhouse once they're a couple of years in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's going to happen next year. I think they're going to simmer off. If they prove me wrong, great.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not against it. But I I think they will become a powerhouse after a couple of years in the Big 12. Once they have their feet under them, recruiting wise, financially, they get used to playing those teams, day in and day out. Obviously, you're not playing Texas, you're not playing Oklahoma, you're not playing the big boys, but you're playing higher caliber individuals than you do in the American.
Yeah.
Even though, the UCF and Houston are going with you. But now you get, BYU. They're sneaky. You don't really know what you're going to get with them. They're better than the rest of the American, though.
Yeah.
You got Iowa State and Oklahoma State, who we have both advocated for tremendously on this podcast. I really love them.
Yeah. They need to make the switch. Like, come on, guys. What are you?
So I think once they have a couple,
we want you to. You should do it, please.
Yeah. See, and that's, I think, like, if Oklahoma State and Iowa State were to like abandon the Big 12, then I don't think the Big 12 has anything to offer.
Yeah, no, they
I think
really don't.
At that point, it's like, But if those teams stay, if TCU and if Baylor stays, up where they are as a good competitive team, a couple of years after playing those teams, if TCU can get back on track, once UC gets their feet under them in a Power 5 and they continue to schedule other Power 5 teams in their non-conference, then I think we'll see them. I think we'll see them. But next couple of years, probably not again.
Yeah, I mean, typically when you see a team like this make a run for it, it's usually a one and done, and then they're kind of down in the dumps for a couple of years, and then make a comeback. So
we'll have to keep our eye out on it.
Yeah, definitely interested to see what comes there, and then I'm also very interested to see what comes to the University of Michigan as we see our beloved, our main man, Mr. Harbaugh.
Jimmy
Harbaugh.
He's going to the NFL.
Let's go.
I think he will.
Oh, yeah.
I think he will.
I think that he is
I just hope he doesn't go to the Chicago. I feel bad for Justin.
I mean, I don't think he was decent with the 49ers. I don't know if the 49ers are gonna pick him up.
I'm just saying
they're doing pretty good, but I know he's also gotten some interest from Vegas as well to be their head coach.
I've heard Vegas a lot.
I've heard Vegas. That's probably gonna be where he's gonna head.
Yeah, I heard that there's interest from Vegas for him, and that there is interest from him towards Jacksonville. Which I would just have to imagine that's because Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
But no, we'll have to keep our eye on that. But speaking of his great alma mater and his fantastic number 2 in the nation football team, they got their ass whooped by Georgia. Like, that was just so fun to watch.
Wait, did they lose more than
Cincinnati? I don't remember.
Bama?
I just know that they got smacked. I heard after the game that Aiden Hutchinson's draft stock fell a couple spots.
I bet.
I just blown it. Like, I watched almost all that game, and let me tell you, it made my heart so happy to see a red, black, and gray team with silver pants destroying Michigan. Like, that just, thank you, Georgia. That just made me so happy. Baby. Yeah, I morally and internally got my revenge on Michigan with that. But I'm just blown away at how manhandled they were.
Yeah.
Hutchinson got pancaked like 3 times. Like, he legitimately got thrown by the offensive tackle. And I mean, we said Georgia was good, right? But we also said Michigan's defensive line. We also pointed out that they got some dudes on the D line, and they just got manhandled.
Yeah, they couldn't get anything started. They literally, it was like watching a bunch of like little kids try to push over a cinder block wall.
And it was like watching Ohio State versus Rutgers. Like, it was like watching Ohio State versus Rutgers, where it was just like, what? Like, I'm watching this. I spent money for this.
What's going on?
Like, if I'm Michigan, like, obviously they're going to hang their hat. We beat Ohio State. We won the Big Ten. Okay, but anybody would have beat Iowa. Good Lord, Kentucky beat Iowa. Like, I mean, Iowa's not a very good offensive team. So, like, okay, congrats. You won the Big Ten. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally.
Years?
You beat Ohio State for the first time in a decade. Okay, that was the last time you won, 2011, at your place. Braxton Miller is a true freshman quarterback. Luke Fickell's the interim coach. That was the last time you beat us. So congrats, okay? Congrats on doing that. But then you showed up to the biggest stage, and you look lost.
Yeah.
And that's what I think comes back to coaching. We've said it over and over again. Harbaugh is not a good coach. He's a great recruiter, not a good coach, though. And I think that's exactly what it is. I don't know about
that. I think, okay, if you look at it as a coach being someone that develops the player more.
I was saying game preparation.
See, I don't know if you can say that. I think he makes a good NFL coach where he's more
just like, hey, college coach.
You're good. And then he can put people in. But as a college coach, I don't think he has necessarily the best development for the players. Like if you're good,
I'm saying his college
wants, he's able to like produce. But if he gets like a bunch of like, oh, like, yeah, we took you because like we needed someone to fill a spot. He's not very good at developing people into the roles that he needs.
No, the statistics and evidence is out there. He's a good NFL coach. There's no question about that. I mean, he won with Kaepernick. I mean, let's be honest. He won with Kaepernick. Nice. He was a below average. I don't care what Madden rates him. He's a below average quarterback. He's not very good. But college wise, it just proves that it's a different game, right? I think you're 100% right. Like, he's a really good recruiter. He can get good guys there, but then it's the development, and then it's the prepping to put them in their development stage in the best, situation to succeed, to help the team. He's better when everybody's already developed. Yeah. When he just has to teach the little things, the little mind things, when they're grown men and getting paid millions, like, he's better with that. Yeah. And that's just who he is. I just don't think he's a good college coach.
Yeah. It's almost like the exact opposite of like an Urban Meyer.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes,
like
it is.
We've seen that Urban's able to develop in college, and then, once they get to once he got to the NFL, though, ooh, bad.
Yeah, because he was treating them like college.
Yeah, kids. He was treating them like, oh, like, you have to want to be here. And they're like, dude, I get paid more than you make in 2 seasons.
They're like, yeah, I don't have to be here.
I don't have to be here. I made already what I need for the year to pay my bills. So, I mean, hey, I'll sit a year.
Yeah. So, no, I just think that his lack of knowledge in the college game and preparation in the college game, it spilled trouble, and it showed us that as long as he is there, they will never win a national championship.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, if you're okay with that and you're a Michigan fan, then keep him. I don't care. Like, keep him. He might beat Ohio State every now and then.
Yeah.
It might, keep the rivalry alive.
Often, but
yeah. So, but that's pretty much it from the Georgia Michigan game. Is Georgia smacked them. Yeah. Right. So some other New Year's Six bowl games that were a little closer. Okay. I think the rest of them actually were pretty good, but we can start with the least the what?
Outback Bowl?
It's not a New Year's Six bowl game. What are you talking
about? I like the Outback Bowl though.
Okay, who's the Outback Bowl? Was that Purdue and Tennessee?
I just want a bloomin' onion.
Oh my god! So I think that was that Kentucky? Kentucky beat Iowa in the Outback Bowl? I don't know.
No, Outback Bowl was Arkansas and Penn State. Arkansas won 24-10.
Yeah,
also,
Penn State had like 10 guys opt out of that game.
Yeah.
Like right before the game. I was like,
yeah.
I felt bad for Franklin then. I was like, that is like really crappy of them to do.
Yeah, considering, they were playing with their second line pretty much.
The entire game almost.
Yeah. And they held Arkansas to 24.
Yeah.
10. That's pretty good. That's not bad.
That's not bad. You lost by 2 touchdowns.
Could be better, but hey.
Yeah. No, but of the New Year's Six bowl games, I think the least exciting was the nightcap of them all was Baylor and Ole Miss. The very last game. And
yeah,
I didn't watch it. I watched like the first quarter, and I felt so bad because I watched and I saw Matt Corral get hurt.
Yeah.
And this just comes into the whole, should they opt out? Here's the thing. If you opt out, like, this is just my viewpoint. My viewpoint means nothing to these kids. But If you choose to play, I respect it. If you choose to opt out, I'll respect it as long as you give your coach and your team enough notice.
Yeah.
Like the way the Penn State guys did, I don't like.
Yeah.
I lost some
you
respect
need
for
to
them.
give like, hey, at least like a week. So something
Yeah, let
can
them prep.
Developed, but like you can't be like walking into the stadium, hey coach, I'm opting out. I'm just not feeling it today. Like,
yeah, and I'll fully admit I'm not over Denzel Ward doing that yet. Like in the Fiesta Bowl, like when he was like, they're like, oh yeah, he's not playing. And I was like, that's just really crappy because it throws somebody in there. Like I understand you're always supposed to be prepared to play. But
like
when you're told right before, hey, you're starting.
Starters. Yeah.
Yeah, like so I don't know. But in case you missed that, Baylor actually won 21-7 against Ole Miss. So another SEC team bites the dust on a big stage. But nothing really happened in that game. Not really much to talk about other than Matt Corral getting injured and his future and draft stock in question now, which really sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I still think he'll go because with an injury like that, you can't really like, it's so hard to just like come back and then stay healthy.
Well, and also who actually needs a quarterback this year?
Yeah, like
that's the real
not
question.
Really a need. Like the only one I can really think of would be like Pittsburgh.
And they have two guys on their roster that they want to develop in the offseason to see who gets it.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to waste a draft pick on the quarterback this year.
So, I mean, yeah, honestly, that's everyone's keeping their quarterback, or at least that I know of. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, and there's no offense to Matt Corral, but it's the same thing with like Kenny Pickett, and we're about to get into the pit in Michigan State. There's no generational quarterbacks.
Yeah.
This draft. Now, do I believe they're going to end up in the first round? Yeah, because somebody's going to fold and draft them. Like it is what it is. It's going to happen. But there's no, Joe Burrow. There's no Tua. There's no Trevor Lawrence. There's no Justin Fields. Like, there's no big name like, oh, I want that guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Hopefully he doesn't fall too far. Just because that would suck. That is because
he's probably going to go like a third round.
Yeah, third or fourth. We'll see.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kenny Pickett, though, Pitt ended up falling to the surging Spartans. This is Sparta. Come back in the second half. I don't know if you watched that game at all.
I did not watch that game.
Let's just say this: Michigan State won because Pitt's backup quarterback got hurt, and they were playing with a third string freshman. So, but hey, it's a win for the Big Ten, right? Like,
hey, you're right though.
There's no question in my mind if Kenny Pickett played, Pitt would have won.
Probably.
I mean, that's all I'm going to say about it. It was a good game to watch. It was entertaining. I felt bad for the third string quarterback because they did, if I remember correctly, they were making a drive and he threw a pick.
Yeah.
So it was like, but if Kenny Pickett played, there's no question in my mind, Pitt would have ran away with that game.
Oh, I bet.
But it was a good game to watch. If you were just looking to watch a game, it was a good game. Speaking of comebacks, I would say one of the most hilarious, we'll get to the best one of this bowl season, but one of the most hilarious ones is Oklahoma State coming back and
Notre Dame
and edging Notre Dame. I kid you not, halftime, I was like, whatever, I'm not watching this. Like, good for Marcus Freeman. He's gonna get his first win, whatever. I left. I'm playing some video games, and Jordan calls up to me, Nick, Oklahoma State just took the lead. And I was like, what do you mean? And I came running down the stairs, and they took the lead and never looked back. And I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, this is just great.
I kind of had that same mindset, but I didn't find out that they won until like an hour later, and I was like, oh my God.
Yes. Right. But like, that's what, if you watch the first half, you're like, dang, Notre Dame is just firing on all cylinders. And then Oklahoma State just never gave up. Notre Dame proved why we don't trust them. Okay, they're now, if I saw correctly, 0-7 in BCS New Year Six bowl games.
Hey,
0-7. There's a reason why nobody wants them in the playoff. Okay,
hey,
join a conference, win a conference.
One team has to. All right.
Okay, well,
so like you have
they're
to send a loser
designated
in
for
there,
that.
you know.
They're
Yeah,
designated for that.
They're hey, they're all right, but like they're probably gonna lose. So like put your money on someone else.
Yeah. And with everything that's happening at Notre Dame, we'll get into that next episode, because next episode is about the coaching carousel and how college football is, at least in the Midwest, stuff that's relevant to us. It's heating up and it's crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff's going on. We'll break down, how we feel about that stuff. I have some choice words for some former Buckeyes, but yeah, I thought it was hilarious to see Notre Dame pull a Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality.
All the like big games I remember from Notre Dame are always like against USC, and there's always that good rivalry. But who usually wins those? USC.
Think about. Did you know how many rivalries Notre Dame has?
So many.
Get ready. Get on for anybody at home. If you have NCAA 14 still on PS3 or Xbox or PC or whatever, or you have a revamped, which we both advocate for that, and we're trying to get us a copy of that.
Let's get it.
But for any of you who play those, go set up to be Notre Dame and just scroll through A to W, because there's no Z team, but A to W, and see how many rivalries they have, because these are the few that I remember off the bat. They have a rivalry with Stanford. Okay. Yeah, Stanford, USC. That's a big one. That's a historic one. Very historic. Michigan. Yeah. Michigan State. Wait, Navy. What? Army. There's like I think two more in the Big Ten, which I can't remember at the current moment. And then two games that whenever they meet, it's like not a rivalry, but it's pretty darn close. Ohio State and Penn State. Oh, and Miami. Let's not forget Miami, Florida, right? Yeah. Catholics versus convicts. Yeah. Do you know how many like teams hate Notre Dame?
Everyone, because they're like, oh, we have to be the only team that doesn't join one of your fancy clubs. I really
think that the second most hated team in America. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State's up in the top 5. Okay, there's no I wouldn't be surprised, because we're good. I get it. But I really, truly believe that number 1's Alabama, number 2's Notre Dame. Like, those are two of the most hated teams in America.
But like, one's hated because they're good.
I think it was, Alabama's hated because they currently have college football on a death grip. Yeah. Notre Dame was historically, or it is historically good, but it's almost like, and don't tell my mom I said this, but it's almost like Cowboys fans where they live in the past, right? Yeah. It's like you haven't done anything recently. Yeah, you're really good. I mean, look at all the accolades you have from like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, remember when we won that Super Bowl back in 80 whatever?
Yeah, like, so nice. I don't know.
Right, what have you done recently?
What have you done for me recently for me to think, oh wow. So I think it's hilarious. Play like a champion today. You did. You made me happy. You blew a lead. It was just the most Notre Dame thing to do. Yeah. It was just, I mean, that's what it was.
I wouldn't expect anything different, honestly.
Yes, especially in a New Year's Six bowl game. Yeah. But that leaves us our last New Year's Six bowl game, which was the granddaddy of them all. And did it ever, grow up? I don't know. To the hype.
Live up.
Yeah, there it is. I was like, grow up doesn't sound hype. So, all right. Live up to the hype of the granddaddy of them all, with Ohio State versus the surgeon Utah Utes. Yeah. So
that game was honestly, that was one that I was very shocked.
What was your first thought? So you're shocked.
First I was like, oh, okay, it's Ohio State Utah blowout. watched the game and then was like,
how many emotions did we go through? Because I definitely took a shower out at halftime. Jordan was on the phone with her dad, and I said some choice words as I was walking down the hallway to take a shower to cool off. And
dude,
her parents have never heard me, like, they've never heard me cuss before, so they're like, is he okay?
What's going on? Is he all right? And she's like, oh, he's just watching the Ohio State game. He's passionate.
Yeah. I was very, there's a tale of two halves is what I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here's what I also, Utah is a good team. They're a good veteran team, right?
Yeah.
Had a lot of veterans. They were very good. And they play a very similar style to Michigan. And we saw what Michigan could do against us, right? Running the ball. We could see, where our issues were. And Utah tried to expose those and exploit them. And I think they did in the first half.
Yeah.
First half,
I was honestly just like, is this really happening? Like, I don't know how many times I was like, I'm in some kind of like false reality right now. Like, this isn't actually happening. But then I'm like, all right, second half came on and I was like, all right, we're making a push. It's kind of in the right direction. Can we close it out here? And then third quarter, I was like, all right, we're close. This is a game.
Right, like we didn't know if we were gonna get there. We're like, we have the ability to, but are we going to?
Yeah, right. I literally like at halftime, it was to the point where I was like, okay, we're 2 scores down. We need to like we
thankfully
have
we got ball first, right? In the second half. Thankfully, if we didn't have ball first, I think we were.
Oh yeah, no. If we didn't set the tone going into halftime, I think that Utah would have ran away with the game. Because, dude, are you serious? Like, we got up to 38-31. So I'm like, all right, we held them to a field goal. We're in the game now. We're in the game.
Yeah.
And then fourth quarter came in, and I'm sitting there the whole time, just like, okay, 38-37. Oh my God. 38-38. Okay, we're tied. And then we take the lead, and I'm like, all right, this is sealed.
But then that last drive.
But then Utah said, that's a good one. You thought you were getting away and scored. And I'm like,
yeah. I mean, let's just call it. So that drive, props to that walk-on, right? Props to that walk-on quarterback. You never like to see a quarterback hurt. It sucks that their starter got hurt. I believe he ended up with a concussion. That stinks.
Yeah.
But props to that walk-on to just say, okay, I'll just throw it up to my receivers. Their receivers and tight ends weren't bad,
dude.
Honestly,
I was like, all right, Utah.
If Utah had a better secondary, and I understand that they were so decimated, like we were decimated at secondary, right? Yeah. Like we were dealing with injuries. I mean, we were dealing with 2 guys who transferred right before the bowl game.
Yeah,
Ryan Watts is now at Texas, and Craig Young is now at Kansas. And it really sucks because I really had high hopes on both of them.
I know. I thought both of them were going to run the freaking secondary.
I thought it was going to be really good. Especially, I mean, you're talking about Craig Young was playing a bullet position at 6'3", and then Ryan Watts was a 6'3" corner. I mean, talk about length. But, we were decimated because people were leaving. They were decimated from injuries so much that their running back was playing cornerback.
Okay. I couldn't tell if that's who it was, but I was like,
their running back was playing cornerback.
I think that's their running back, but I'm not 100% sure right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and when it comes to that, you're decimated by that much. Stopping Jackson Smith Njigba is unstoppable. And then also, let's talk about CJ Stroud throwing to Marvin Harrison some dimes, some perfect. I mean, we talked about his growth as a passer.
Yeah. He's unbelievable, building up that confidence downfield, and you can tell. And
I'm very excited for next year.
Yeah, very excited. If he is hitting these kind of passes next year,
we are going to be hard to stop.
I'm gonna have a national championship jersey.
Well, we got to get the run. We got to get the run block going. We got to get the run block and the running game going a little bit more.
I think we're gonna see a big change there as well with all the coaching
with
changes.
The new, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, that'll be next episode. So you gotta come back. And plus, we took such a long break. We're gonna come back, hit it strong. We're gonna have a couple episodes for you. So keep.
Yeah, we will finish up the college football season strong, and then we'll get into something new.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the run game, real quick to wrap up the Ohio State game, because it was an instant classic.
Yeah.
I think CJ Stroud, Jackson Smith, and Joma, if they were to say they were co-offensive players, I think because Jackson needs CJ to throw him the ball and CJ needs Jackson to catch the ball. But
dude, imagine
I was
selling them as a package.
Yeah, I was okay with abandoning the run when they did, because they couldn't stop Jackson.
Yeah.
They just couldn't stop him. Like, you knew he was getting the ball and he still found a way to get open. And then occasionally you dropped it to Emeka Ibuka or Julian Fleming or Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, you dropped it to one of them and they're like, oh wait, what? It's like, yeah, we still have other 5-star receivers. So we're good. But I'll end on this note about that game, saying the defense made the adjustments needed. You're talking about they gave up 10 points in the second half. That is the type of defense that we need. Now, that last drive, not so much, right?
Guys, I just want to say, let's not do that shit again.
Yeah. But overall, I thought they played a whole lot better. And I loved seeing Cade Stover back on the defensive side of the ball, because he's a freak athlete. Him playing linebacker with Steel Chambers and Tommy Eichenberg, try to get through him.
Nice.
It was really nice. And you know what? When Cody Simon's back healthy again, okay, when Palale Gayety is healthy, and if Taraja Mitchell uses his 6 year of eligibility, if they all come back and you're rotating those 6, hey, it's going to be tough.
That's deadly.
It's going to be tough sledding. Okay. But props to the defense for making the changes when needed.
Good job, guys. But let's not almost make
me get an ulcer, please. Yeah.
Please.
So with the granddaddy of them all, wrapped up, that only leaves us your favorite.
Where are we going? We already talked about UC.
We're talking about the national championship. It's the last game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Georgia, I got a few kind words to say to you. Why you gotta do me dirty like that? I watched the whole first half and was like, this is Bama's game. I'm going home. I'm not gonna watch any more of this. That's it. I don't watch the second half. I find out probably midway through my day. Georgia freaking came out and won by freaking 20 something points. Was it
20?
It was 33-18.
Oh,
my math is so bad 13, right now. Oh 13, my gosh.
13 points. 31-18, 13-point victory.
No, it'd be 15. Yeah, 15 points.
31-18.
No, 33.
I thought you said 31. I was like, no, 31 minus 18 is 13.
So 15-point game. My math is bad. But that whole second half, though, they had to save the good stuff.
They made the adjustments. Okay, just like Ohio State, they made the adjustments at halftime.
9-6. I'm thinking, okay.
Talk about a boring first half.
Yes, right? Dude. It was literally okay, whose kicker's gonna miss first?
Talk about an SEC first half.
Oh my god. I was so ready to just like, I mean, I eventually just was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not watching this game anymore. I was like, if they're just going to kick field goals the whole time, it's not worth my time. Yeah. And then Georgia's just like, hey, yeah, we'll score in the third quarter. And then Alabama's like, oh, you scored. All right. Well, we gotta start going for stuff. So they kick a field goal, score a touchdown, miss on a 2-point. And then Georgia scores. I'm like, all right, cool. But then Georgia just keeps rolling on them, and I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I think what happened.
Cool.
We talked about when we watched the Alabama Georgia SEC championship game. It was almost like Georgia was playing not to lose.
Yeah,
it was kind of like they were a little lost. They were a little out of their element. And I really, what it looked like is in the national championship, they played their game. They're like, you know what? So what?
I mean,
we're down
half,
9-6.
Yeah.
Like, so what? We're at halftime. We're losing. Like, yeah, this is the first time like all year we're losing at halftime, but we're gonna play our game. Our defense is gonna step up when needed. Sure enough, they get a pick 6 to seal it. I mean, it just looked like they were completely comfortable, and they're like, we're gonna play our game regardless of what Alabama does. Regardless of how they come at us, we're gonna play our game and we're gonna win this.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't speak too much for the gameplay for the second half, but I mean, through the first half, I mean, they were just like basically tossing the ball back and forth with who was on top. I mean, like I think it just became like a stalemate. Who's going to break first? You know, I feel like Georgia kept pushing the same thing at Alabama. Alabama kept pushing the same thing back. But then like second half, Georgia was just like, all right, we're going to keep pushing, and just Alabama couldn't hold them.
Yeah, I would say that this game will go down as a classic just because because it was the first time, or the second time, sorry, Jimbo Fisher did beat Saban this year. It'll be the second time that a Saban assistant beat him. All I have to say about this is thank you, Georgia. I understand you're still an SEC team, but thank you. Thank you for stopping Bama, for exposing them, for beating them.
The dynasty.
I don't know if I'd say that. No, once Nick Saban retires, we can say that. But I would also say this: live it up. Enjoy the next 3-4 months, and enjoy the month, and then when you get back into spring ball, because Ohio State's coming for you.
Yeah,
hopefully we can meet.
Probably gonna come and try to.
Bama's coming for you. You got a target on your back. A&M's coming for you.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about Michigan. You kind of kicked them back a decade.
Michigan's probably like, our coach left too. What are we gonna do now?
I think that sounds almost like Tennessee, though. you're too south for Michigan to be doing that accent.
I don't know what kind of does Michigan even have an accent?
Sure they do.
There's probably a little something to it. I just can't.
I'm sure it just sounds like shit.
Oh!
but yeah, Georgia, congrats, you did it. But it's short-lived.
Yeah.
For the state of Georgia, hey, Braves and Georgia Bulldogs. I wish I could say go Falcons, but
yeah, no, that's
so go Pat, go, right? And
Hooday Nation. The other Cats by 90.
The real Cats by 90. But with that, I mean, hey, that was our quick run through of all the bowl games that really mattered.
Yeah.
Like we said, next episode we're gonna break down the coaching carousel that's happening in the Midwest. So sorry, we don't really have insiders at the SEC yet. So
yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, if you know anything interesting, hit us up, let us know. Yeah. But stay tuned next time, so you can find out what's happening with the Ohio State University, douchebag Notre Dame, and rising Cincy.
See you guys. Wow, we did it. First time back.
Oh my God.